In the heart of Los Angeles stands a hotel with a history written in blood. Some people call it the suicide. It's a place where serial killers have slept and some guests have checked in but never checked out. In 2013, a young tourist named Elisa Lam vanished inside this very hotel. The only clue she left behind was a piece of chilling elevator footage that has haunted the internet for years. But what the footage doesn't show is somehow the most horrifying part of the story. Elisa Lam was a 21-year-old student from Vancouver, Canada. From what everyone says, she was bright, adventurous, and full of life. She chronicled her thoughts and dreams on her blog, painting a picture of a curious and introspective young woman excited to see the world. In January 2013, she set off on a solo trip down the west coast of the United States, a journey she called her West Coast Tour. Her big destination was California. She had plans to see San Diego, Los Angeles, and Santa Cruz. This was a dream trip for Elisa, a chance to explore and find herself. She was great about keeping in touch with her parents, calling them every single day to share her adventures. For her LA stop, she chose a budget-friendly option in the heart of downtown, the Cecil Hotel. She checked in on January 28, 2013. It was a decision that would unknowingly place her at the center of one of the internet's most enduring and tragic mysteries. The Cecil Hotel isn't just a building, it's a character in this story, a place with a soul stained by decades of darkness. When it opened in the 1920s, it was a grand hotel, but the Great Depression sent it and the whole area into a steep decline. Located near the infamous Skid Row, the Cecil became a magnet for crime, violence, and despair. Its history is a catalog of human misery. It's been the site of so many suicides that it earned the nickname the Suicide. But the darkness runs deeper. In the 1980s, it was the temporary home of one of history's most terrifying serial killers, Richard Ramirez, also known as the Night Stalker. He would reportedly dump his bloody clothes in the hotel dumpster before walking through the lobby, mostly unnoticed in the chaos of the Cecil. Then in 1991, another serial killer, Jack Unterweger, stayed there preying on local women. The hotel became a place where the desperate and the dangerous converged. This was the hotel Elisa Lam checked into, likely unaware she was stepping into a place with such a malevolent past. For the first few days, Elisa's trip seemed pretty normal. She visited a local bookstore, the last bookstore, and bought gifts for her family. But then her behavior reportedly started to shift. She was initially placed in a shared room, but her roommates complained of odd behavior, like leaving notes that said, "Go home," and she was moved to a private room. Then on January 31st, the day she was scheduled to check out, the daily calls to her parents stopped. One day of silence turned into 2, then 3. Her family, knowing this was completely out of character, reported her missing. The Los Angeles Police Department launched an investigation. They searched her room and used police dogs to search the hotel, even on the roof. But they found no trace of her. With no obvious signs of foul play, they couldn't just search every single room in the massive building. Elisa Lam had simply vanished from inside the hotel. For 2 weeks, the case went cold. Then on February 13th, the LAPD, desperate for leads, released a piece of evidence that would turn this missing person case into a global obsession. It was a surveillance video from one of the hotel's elevators. recorded the day Elisa disappeared. It's about 2.5 minutes long. The footage is deeply unsettling. Elisa enters the elevator alone and presses a whole bunch of buttons. The doors, for some reason, don't close. She cautiously peeks out into the hallway, looking both ways as if she's either expecting someone or hiding from them. She darts back into the elevator, pressing herself into the corner, seemingly trying to stay out of sight. The doors still won't close, so she steps out again, stands in the doorway, and begins making strange, almost fluid gestures with her hands as if she's talking to someone just out of frame. Her movements are unnatural and hard to read. After a few moments, she walks away, and only then do the elevator doors finally close and ascend to other floors empty. The video went viral. Millions of people watched it, each with their own theory. Was she being followed? Was someone holding the door open? Was she having a psychotic episode? Some people noticed the video's timestamp was blurred, and that parts of the video seemed to be slowed down, which fueled theories that the footage had been tampered with to hide another person's identity. The video was a horrifying puzzle with no clear solution, and it only made the mystery of where Elisa had gone even deeper. While the internet was obsessing over the elevator video, a grim situation was developing inside the Cecil Hotel. For days, guests had been complaining about the water. It had low pressure, a strange, sweet taste, and a dark, murky color. On the morning of February 19th, almost 3 weeks after Elisa disappeared, a hotel maintenance worker named Santiago Lopez went to the roof to figure out what was wrong. The roof held the hotel's 4 large water cisterns. He took a ladder, climbed to the top of the main tank, and opened the lid to look inside. He later said he noticed the hatch was already open. There, floating face up in the dark water, was the naked body of Elisa Lam. The discovery was horrific. Firefighters had to cut a hole in the side of the massive tank just to get her body out, since the opening at the top was too small for the equipment. Her clothes, which matched what she was wearing in the elevator video, were found in the water with her. For nearly 3 weeks, the guests and residents of the Cecil Hotel had been bathing, brushing their teeth, and drinking water from a tank containing a decomposing body. The mystery of the missing tourist had come to a shocking and gruesome end. Discovering the body raised more questions than it answered. How did Elisa get to the roof? And how did she get inside a massive water tank? The case was officially handed to the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office. The autopsy found no evidence of physical trauma, no signs of sexual assault, and no illegal drugs or alcohol in her system. The final ruling was released in June 2013. Accidental drowning with her diagnosed bipolar disorder listed as a significant contributing factor. It turned out Elisa had a history of severe bipolar disorder and was on several medications to manage it. According to her family, she had a history of not taking her medication, which had led to previous episodes, sometimes involving hallucinations. The toxicology report suggested she may have been under-medicating at the time of her death, which could have triggered a psychotic episode. This provided a tragic explanation for her behavior in the elevator. She may have been hallucinating, believing she was being chased and trying to find a place to hide. But this didn't satisfy everyone. What about the 2 biggest questions? First, how did she get on the roof? The main door to the roof was locked and had an alarm. However, investigators pointed out that she could have gotten there through one of the hotel's fire escapes, which would not have triggered an alarm. Second, how did she get inside the water tank? Hotel staff said you'd need a ladder just to look inside. The theory from investigators is that in her disoriented state, she climbed the ladder and went into the tank, maybe seeking a hiding place. Once inside, she would have been unable to get out. She might have taken off her clothes to try to stay afloat. And as for the heavy lid, the maintenance worker who found her body said the hatch was open, which resolves the popular question of how she could have closed it from the inside. Even with an official cause of death, the Elisa Lam case has never felt truly closed. The disturbing facts have fueled countless theories online. Some people still argue for foul play, suggesting she was murdered and placed in the tank. Others lean into the Cecil Hotel's haunted history, suggesting Elisa was the victim of a supernatural force, with some even bringing up online urban legends. Her family filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the hotel, arguing they were negligent for not securing the water tanks. The case was dismissed in 2015, with a judge ruling the hotel couldn't have foreseen that a guest would climb into one. In the years since, the Cecil Hotel has been rebranded and was eventually converted into an affordable housing complex, closing its doors to tourists hoping to glimpse its dark corridors. While the most logical explanation points to a tragic mental health crisis that ended in a bizarre and horrifying accident, the gaps in the story leave you with a permanent sense of unease. We know how Elisa Lam died, but the strange journey she took to get there remains shrouded in the shadows of the Cecil Hotel. The eerie footage, the hotel's bloody legacy, and the sheer horror of her final moments ensure that the tragedy of Elisa Lam will always feel like a mystery with no satisfying answer. The Elisa Lam case is a tragic story that sits at the intersection of mental health, our fascination with true crime, and a place with a truly dark history. What are your thoughts on this case? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives into mysteries like this, make sure to subscribe. The story of Elisa Lam is a stark reminder of the devastating effects of mental illness and the fine line between reality and delusion. While we have an official ruling, the gaps in the timeline and the chilling nature of the evidence leave the door open for speculation. It's that combination of a relatable young woman, a hotel that feels like a horror movie set, and a piece of truly disturbing footage that has cemented this case in our minds. Officially, it was a tragic accident. But for many who have stared into the darkness of this story, the mystery of what truly happened to Elisa Lam on that rooftop will forever remain unsolved.